All right. Merry Christmas, Will.
Hey, Merry Christmas, Joe. It's late, but
Yep,
there it is.
We already done that.
You know,
we recorded this episode like 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, we've been away for a little while.
We've been away. We've been experiencing life through the eyes of a non-podcasting human.
Right.
Sounds
good.
A human who goes home and enjoys time with their family.
That's right. I didn't care for it. I didn't care for it.
Yeah, no.
It's good to be back.
I had a good time. Did you have a good time at home?
Yeah, I had a good time at home. Yeah,
my dad and I went to 2 movies. Our plan was to go to 3 movies.
Oh, nice.
Because he really likes to go to the movies.
Sure.
I really like to go to the movies. Therefore, when we're together, we try to make that happen.
It's a good time.
But so yeah, you want to talk about Mr. Craig?
You know,
Craig, who we had on the.
We had Craig Williams on this episode, and it was a great time. We had a really good time. What did we talk about? I haven't listened back to this, so I'm trying to remember.
Good. We talked about the roast of Darth Vader.
We did, yeah. We talked about his general sort of arc or his life narrative into comedy. We talked about his writing. Yep.
Writing Bagged and Board.
Writing Bagged and Board, yeah.
Working on meeting Matt Gaither, who is one of the creators of Bagged and Board.
Yeah.
And we talked about his involvement at the end with one of the songs that was created for Bagged and Board.
Yeah, helping us get some Japanese phrases.
Yeah, so at the end of this episode, you'll hear that song and you'll hear his contribution.
Which is really funny.
His lyricistic abilities.
That's right.
It was lyricistic.
Really funny. Let me think. Oh, before we get into it, I do want to say, as per usual, everybody should go to destinationcomics.com.
Yep.
And check that out. And if you're in Louisville, go to the Destination, because we're a DNN podcast, and so just throwing that out there.
Yeah, just toss out a line, see what
you catch.
And this time next year, we'll check. We'll have Barrow and Pack check their sales records and see if they're any higher.
Yeah, get that Villain District spike.
Yeah.
That's right. So do that. We got some good guests coming up. I don't want to say who they are just in case anything falls through, but we got some really good episodes coming up.
You really can't be too careful.
I know. There's a lot of people counting on us.
Yeah.
A lot of people counting on us. So I won't say, but the next few weeks should be really good, and we should be back to a normal schedule after this, I'm hoping. So
yeah, probably
after the holidays and whatnot. So
you want to fire this one off?
Let's do it. Everybody have a good New Year. Joe, have a good New Year. Podcast Joe.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. All right.
Oh, not like
real life Joe. Okay. Because I'll probably see you.
Yeah, I'll see you there.
Right.
Okay. I'll see you there, or I'll see you another time.
I'll see you at another time. All right, Craig Williams. Enjoy it, everybody.
You are now a loyal follower of the Villain District Podcast.
You guys don't have a Brian Kinnison-like theme that plays?
Everywhere I look, I see Brian Kinnison.
We just sing it every time.
Yeah. No, so that's movie magic. Okay,
what's
something to consider?
Yeah,
because we don't do anything live. Every song you hear, listeners, on the podcast, we put that in later.
Right.
So that's a little. I'm just pulling the curtain back.
Free advice for everyone who would want to make a podcast.
That's right.
Yeah.
There you go. There's a tip right there.
But if you're going to pretend to make a podcast in a YouTube show, it needs to be like you need to hear the song.
I think some people actually do it that way.
Oh, really?
They
okay.
They have their sound clips and their boards, and that was a live podcast on that episode.
Exactly.
Oh, right.
Yeah, and the podcast we're referring to is the
from episode 3.
What was it called? The
Podcast of Doom.
The podcast
of Doom.
Yeah.
Bagged and Board. We're sitting here with one of the writers of the show, so that's pretty exciting. We got a writer in the house. You want to talk about that, or you want to talk about something else first?
We want to talk about.
Actually, this is what I want to start on.
Yeah.
The roast of Darth Vader.
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
We came to the first show So it was the 7 o'clock, I guess, 7 o'clock show last Friday.
Like that.
And we just had a ball.
It was
great.
I liked it.
It was very fun, very good. Production value was...
it was crazy. It was off the charts.
Off the charts.
Yeah.
Off the chain.
I mean, especially if you'd seen the first time we'd ever done that, like I want to say a year, maybe 2 years.
Oh
ago.
yeah, I heard you guys had done it before.
Yeah, we've come a long way.
Yeah.
Since then. Just with costumes and sets and
Totally.
Well,
actual R2D2s.
I was gonna say that's the.
It's okay. The cat's out of the bag.
Well, I was gonna say this will go up after the 2 shows that are coming up. You guys are doing more shows this weekend, right?
Yeah, we're doing some shows this weekend, but
As
everyone's
we're
already
recording
posting pictures on Facebook of themselves with R2D2. So
that's I'm guessing that's an expensive little machine, right?
I would imagine.
It would have to be. It's fully remote controlled. It looks like a prop from the movie.
It looks like R2D2. Like when I first walked into rehearsal for the show, he was like going, kind of putting R2D2 through the motions and stuff. And I just had this weird trippy moment of like, I was talking to Kent, and then I just sort of, my geek part of my brain was just like, finally realized, like, Craig, there is a moving R2D2 unit and walking around chirping everywhere.
Yeah,
you need to pay attention to this.
You need
the vents
soaking in.
His vents open when he's like shocked or embarrassed, and he goes, "Wow!"
Yeah.
He plays
So
music. It's insane, and the guy made it from scratch.
Oh wow!
Are you for real?
That's amazing.
He made it from scratch.
That's nuts. I thought it was just like a really expensive store bought thing.
Yeah.
No, he made it himself, and it's not even done yet. Like, according to him, the legs still need to be turned into metal. Like right now, they're just like a wood composite of some sort.
Yeah.
But he plans on making R2 fully metal at some point.
Dude, you realize how ridiculous that is?
That's amazing. That's amazing.
That's great. That is like I could never accomplish anything so fantastic in my life.
No.
Yeah.
Like
well, and I'm
cashing in right now.
The remote control looked like a remote control from like a late 80s, early 90s.
Honey, I Shrunk the Kids.
Yes. It looked like that.
The
like
remote control for the lawnmower.
The lawnmower.
It looks like a prop. Like, it looks like it shouldn't actually control anything. You know what I mean? Like, it looks like this overcomplicated prop for an 80s movie, like some kid genius put together. And it wouldn't actually control anything, but in the movie, it controls everything, like the garage doors and the TV somehow.
Oh, man.
Yeah, it looks like that. And this guy is like building, like, he said that the thing he's working on now is like a Knight Rider car.
Oh, okay.
He's building a fucking car. Can I curse?
You can say whatever you want. Yeah.
Like, he's building a car.
Yeah.
And like, he has a Ghostbuster
Kit?
car.
Is that Kit? Is that right?
Kit, yeah.
Yeah.
So this guy is from here?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And is it... Did he just come out of the woodworks, or like who knows who? How does that happen?
I think we came across him at one of the conventions that we were at. He had the R2 there, and we got his information. And then when we were planning the roast, I think it was Sean Keller maybe that put us like went out and contacted him and we were like, oh man, will we be able to afford this guy? Because who knows how much he might ask to do this. But it turned out that he was just like, he just wanted an excuse to get the R2.
Just wanted to do it.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
Do something. Like, it was at this point, he said it was just sitting in his attic or doing nothing. So he was like,
dude,
that's
he could
so cool.
He can make some cash off that.
So
like,
cool. It seems like he
doing
could, right?
Parties and stuff
for sure. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
especially here in a week or two. I guess a week almost.
Yeah.
Right. Him and Kent need to team up, and because Kent's his C-3PO delivery is solid.
Oh yeah, it's very good.
I don't know. Like,
it was good.
He seems like some kind of machine when he does the roasts. Like he seems so well spoken. He doesn't really trip up on it. What a weird thing.
You mean like Kent in general?
Yeah.
Oh, I mean, that's the first thing I noticed about him when I first met him back when I saw him do stand up for the first time. Is you could definitely tell when someone does stand up, you can definitely tell if they have a performance background. Like Kent studied theater,
right?
And
that
so
makes sense.
Yeah, he has a theatrical background. So I saw him do stand up, and it was great. Like it was of course really good. But like the thing that stood out was like he would actually perform the shit out of his jokes.
Right?
Like, he wouldn't just say them; he would do them, and
you
could tell that this guy was like an actor or did acting.
Yeah. I think we were chatting because we were talking about I can't remember if this was on the podcast or just in life, but we were talking about
what's the difference,
right, exactly. We were talking about his Pinhead and your Jason from the Halloween roast. Both amazing performances.
Thank you.
Both awesome. The the shtick for the Halloween roast was amazing. I don't remember who I was. I think we spoke about this at one point about like your shtick with. So the deal for the listeners, the deal was you played Jason Voorhees, and I'll let you tell them what the sort of angle on it was because it was great.
Well, like everyone wanted me to play Jason, and I wanted to play Jason too because he's like one of my favorite.
Yeah,
like when I was a kid, that was the first time I ever got into horror movies. Was those movies, and but the problem was he doesn't talk. He's a non-character.
Right.
Yeah,
I mean, it's just like I kind of was like I was excited at first, like let's play Jason, and then after about a couple weeks, I was like, what the fuck am I going to do with this? Like he doesn't talk, and so I kind of just banged it around my head a bit for a while before I think about a week leading up to the roast. I finally was just like, well, my mom has a machete, believe it or not, that she painted for some reason, which I always thought was funny.
Yeah.
And so I was like, how would I just need to work this in somehow.
Yeah.
And then I thought, well, Jason's lonely. He doesn't talk.
Right.
He's by himself.
Yeah.
So maybe he's just crazy and he talks to his machete. And so that's kind of how I developed it. Just like this puppet act between Jason and his talking machete.
Right.
When Jason is actually talking to his machete, his voice is
yeah.
Which is
that's funny.
Would you believe that I thought of doing that on the way to the roast?
Really?
Like, I hadn't even.
Dude.
I was like driving, and I was like, "Holy shit!" I didn't even think about the chi cha cha stuff. Like I haven't even worked that in yet,
dude. That was
it was
top notch.
Yeah, it was great. So it sounds like the roasts are pretty. I'm super fascinated by that. I think I was talking to you when we went to see the Star Wars roast. I was like, I'm so glad. Like when we were watching it, I'm like, I'm so glad. Number one, that this is happening because it's awesome, and number two, I would be horrified if I were one of them right now. You know, I'd be like, oh my god, you like have to go out there and there are people sitting there and stuff. That sounds horrifying.
That sounds pretty bad.
It sounds horrifying. So I'm fascinated by it, but it sounds like there's a lot of flexibility, right? I mean, if you're thinking of stuff like on the way to the performance that you like can throw in. Oh, yeah. You know what I mean? So it's sort of, how does that work out where you have flexibility like that?
Well, like there are certain beats of the roast that are, scripted. Yeah. Like mostly the beginning and the end. But everything else is pretty, just up to the performer to just like write their own thing, and it's almost like a stand-up act in a lot of ways. Except we're doing it as a character. Yeah. Which when we first started doing the roasts, we were just doing. We didn't do. We did it. We would dress up like a character, but still be ourselves.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Right.
It was like very weird. Like, I mean, I don't want to try to. I don't want to try to say that I was special in any sort of way. But when I was asked to do the roast at some point, like I would try to get into character.
Sure.
I didn't understand the point of going up there dressed like Jason but talking like Craig, you know, like so I was always trying to do that, but there was a lot of people who just would go up there and just be themselves. But Ronan does that, but he sort of made it an art.
Right, yeah.
Like he
makes it work.
He makes it work. He still does that. Everyone else now is actually trying to act more or less. Yeah. So it's become an interesting mixture of like acting and stand-up comedy, and it's very nerve-wracking in that with stand-up comedy, you can at least go to like some open mics and like workshop stuff and get an idea of what works and what doesn't.
Right.
But with this,
you just use the first performance.
Right. The first performance is all you
work
have,
it out. Yeah.
And there's so much on the line because you're dressed up as a crazy character.
Right.
Sometimes like I did a thing for one of the Halloween roasts where I played Nosferatu from like the silent film
Nice.
one.
Yeah.
And like, so I'm like in this makeup and I look like just like ghoulish or whatever. And then like my whole shtick that I did was that I couldn't like Jason, I couldn't talk. So instead I had title cards projected behind me on the projector, and I would pretend to talk.
Yeah.
And so the jokes were being projected behind me, and I would sort of perform them.
Yeah.
And I think that's the most nervous I've ever been for a show, because I was like, if none of these jokes are funny, or if this whole concept isn't working with the audience, that is a long time of absolute silence.
Yeah.
Sure, yeah.
Because I'm not talking.
Yeah.
They're not laughing.
Yeah.
I'm just gesturing wildly at a quiet void of an audience.
Yeah, that's
like it would be a nightmare.
Yeah.
But luckily it went better. Like it went well.
That's awesome. It seems like you've had it, like, at least from the two that I've seen you in, or no, I saw you as Voldemort as well. You were
right,
Voldemort, right? That was great. But I mean, like, it seems like you guys are like, your characters are sort of ones that mess with the format in some way. So like Vader, for example, right? I mean, was that Sean Keller's voice?
It was Sean Keller, doing the voice.
Doing the voice, and you're doing the gestures until the end, right?
Until the end.
Until the
I
end.
was
Although he
wondering if that
offered
was
to do
going to
my
happen.
voice.
Yeah. the ending, and like, is he going to have like? Yeah, it was so good.
Thank you. He did a lot of the voices in that, and it was almost kind of became a joke with us because he's doing like 4 or 5 voices, and so we were all just like, "So Sean, do you just want to do this show by yourself?"
Yeah, right.
I was gonna say his
Obi-Wan
was really solid.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
That's a
it was
good one.
really solid.
A lot of people don't realize with him, like, I mean, you guys, of course, know him as like Adam and Bagden Board. I don't know if you've seen his stand up, but
No, I've never seen it.
yeah, he hasn't done it in a while. But when he first hit town, like he would do, he was basically, he would do impressions and stuff. And he does like a lot of good impressions.
Yeah.
Does a mean Jeff Goldblum.
Yeah.
I would like to see that.
That's awesome.
I always like those what are they called? Impressionists?
Yeah,
I guess so. Yeah.
Impersonators.
Impersonators.
Well, not impersonators, like someone who dresses. Yeah.
Oh, okay. I see.
But
right.
Well, I had another question. What was it? Talk amongst yourselves.
Okay. But yeah, like you mentioned how like I play characters that sort of mess with the format.
Yeah.
That's definitely something when it comes to these roasts I'm most drawn to.
Okay.
Because I'm not a very good roaster. Like, I mean, I'm okay, but it's hard. It's actually really difficult for me.
Yeah.
To write, I guess, like like jokes that are just sort of, I guess, disses or whatever.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
So when I first started doing the roasts,
you hearing that?
Yeah, I am actually. Well, I was.
Yeah, I guess it's okay.
what was it?
It was like a little blop.
There was
Pop.
There was a weird thing coming through the.
Weird.
Yeah.
There was.
Yeah, it happens again.
Yeah.
If only I was wearing my headphones.
Oh, that's true. That's true. You didn't hear it. Yeah.
But I'm sorry about that.
That's
Sorry.
okay.
Anyway.
Well, like so, I can't remember, but I think one of the first roasts I was in, like my character was a walk on. It was one of the first times we started doing that. Mm-hmm. Like the idea being was this, like, one of my criticisms of the roasts was that sometimes it would get monotonous.
Okay.
Just one person after the other coming up.
Roasting everyone.
Everyone. And, we have all these colorful characters, so I feel like there should be more shit happening.
Yeah.
Like unexpected stuff. So I thought it would be funny to break up the monotony if, like, a random character you wouldn't expect to be in the roast would just show up.
Yeah.
And do something, either roast the person or just do something else. I think the first time we did that was the roast of Santa Claus. I played Charlie Brown.
Okay.
And like
that's funny.
So I just like the host was talking and they started playing the Charlie Brown music and I just walked onto the set.
Yeah.
And then walked up to the podium and then I started talking as if I thought it was an AA meeting. Like the
Nice.
whole shtick was just like I thought I was at an AA meeting.
Yeah.
And then when I realized I wasn't, I left. You know?
Okay. Yeah, that's awesome.
But that works because you got the big Charlie Brown Christmas special.
Oh, yeah.
and,
Right.
Oh, yeah.
Exactly.
It's good. It ties in.
Yeah, for
It
sure.
ties in a little bit, but it's still like
It's got a fabric. There's a fabric, and I mean,
Right.
there's a Christmas special for like everything.
Well, and it's cool. I like the and I've only been to, I guess, 3 roasts. How many have you been
I've
to?
only been to this last one and then the Halloween squares.
Yeah, and the first one I went to was the Harry Potter one.
Oh yeah.
But but I like the surprise element of it, right? So like in the Halloween squares one, you guys had Bill Cosby that
Yeah.
nobody knew was coming out, right? And then you had R2 in the Star Wars stuff. So I think that stuff's cool. I think it takes it sort of next level. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and it makes people who come to our roasts like want to come to the other ones. 'Cause
Right.
you'll know that there will be surprises and twists and turns and
Yeah.
crazy stuff like that. And
Yeah.
so we're always kind of striving to think of other stuff
Yeah.
and mess around with the format. We're I don't want to give too much away, but we're like the next roast we're thinking of doing is going to be really interesting in terms of sort of doing something different
Oh,
with
cool.
the format.
Nice.
It's going to be sort of a versus roast.
Oh,
but,
interesting. Okay. Cool.
That's all I'll say for now.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, keep it.
Haven't been authorized.
Keep it mysterious. That'll build the hype. Yeah, but so I was. Do you do stand up regularly? Because I've gone to some shows recently, but I haven't. I don't think I've seen you do stand up, but I'm not sure. I may have once.
I used to. When I moved up here, I was doing stand up like constantly. That was why I moved up here.
Cool.
Was to pursue stand up comedy, and it was I don't know. It's just one of those things where I had been doing it for a while and just didn't seem to be getting anywhere with it.
Yeah.
And then just like it got to the point where I would get a call for a gig, and it would like piss me off. Like I would be upset by it instead of excited. Like people would like someone would call me like, "Hey, Craig, do you want to go to? Could you MC at Bumfuck County in Kentucky for a night,
Right.
For gas money?" And there was a time where I would be like, "Yeah, that sounds great."
Yeah.
And then now, like it got to a point where I was like, "Oh man, really? Fuck,
Yeah.
I
you don't want to
guess."
do it anymore.
Yeah.
It's a burden. Yeah.
It's a burden, and so it made me start to think like, am I really into this anymore?
Sure.
Or like, because I just don't feel like I am.
Yeah.
But I mean, I don't think I'll ever quit stand up because it's just too much of a part of who I am.
Yeah.
But I'm definitely not doing it as much. Like instead of I'm doing these roasts. And,
I was going to say that probably scratches that itch pretty well.
Oh yeah, and it in fact it's even better. Like I feel like it's a little bit more satisfying because I'm doing a lot more. I'm taking a lot more risks on stage and doing more stuff outside my comfort zone than I would do with my stand up.
Yeah.
Like part of my stand up too is I would get sick of my jokes really quickly.
Oh, okay.
Like I would get sick of a joke and jettison it from my act, and people would be like, "Craig, you haven't even made a CD yet. Like,
Right. Right.
you haven't made an album or recorded that joke for anyone to see. Like, you shouldn't retire it already." But I was like, I'm tired of saying it. Tired of doing it.
Yeah. Where are you from again? You told me when we were at what were we at? Wizard World. We were hanging out at Wizard World. You told me where you're from. It's like it's somewhere that I've been a lot, but I can't remember. Where are you from? Like south of Bowling Green, is that right?
Yeah, Russellville.
Russellville.
I was raised
okay.
in Russellville
Okay,
for the most
cool.
part.
Cool. So did you get into stand up down there and get into comedy like early in your life, or how did you sort of enter into even being interested in this stuff? You know what I mean?
I'd always been interested in stand up comedy, but like I didn't really consider doing it until around college.
Yeah.
Like it was something that I thought would be cool to try, but there was nowhere to do it in Bowling Green. It was just not a great place.
That's true.
To do stand up. The closest place I could go and try it out was Nashville, and that just was like too daunting.
Yeah.
And
is there anywhere in Bowling Green? I mean, I can't. I lived there for a long time. I can't think of anywhere there.
There is now, I think.
Oh, really?
But
okay.
And there might have been some stuff back then too, but I was just like, too afraid to look really hard.
Sure,
and but I would still write stuff down. Like I would write material down as if I was going to try stand up someday.
Right. Yeah.
And then like I graduated college and I had no idea what I wanted to do with my life. So I was just like, fuck it, I'll try stand-up.
Yeah. Nice.
And I drove to Nashville, and I did an open mic.
Cool.
And it went well, so I went from there.
Nice.
Yeah.
Very cool.
So did you know anybody up here when you came up here? Like moving up here?
Yeah, I knew some friends from high school that were living up here.
Okay.
Some people from college. Not very many people, but most of the friends I made when I moved up here were in comedy. Just like I moved up here and met people at open mics, started hanging out with them. And that's really primarily the people I hang out with, to this day.
Yeah.
Totally.
Yeah. As all my other friends started to get married off.
That's
right.
And they died to me.
It's an epidemic.
Yeah.
Well, let's shift gears into Bagged and Bored, because I've talked a lot to Matt Gaither, and I've talked a lot to some of the cast of Bagged and Bored, but I haven't really talked to you about kind of your involvement of the creation of this thing and how that came to be, like how you met Matt and all that stuff.
Right. Well, I can start with how I met Matt. This is a pretty interesting story. So, I started working at Half Price Books around like 2006, I think, or no, 2007, and it was one of those situations where it was supposed to be a temporary gig until I found something else, but I ended up staying there a little longer than I anticipated. And so to sort of avoid the depression of of that, I started doing some events at Half Price Books for I started running a retro video game competition.
Oh, cool!
It was a real fun project to sort of make my time there feel like I was doing, make it feel like I was doing something worthwhile there.
Yeah. Totally.
Like building something.
Yeah, building something, being creative. It was very satisfying to do that. And my boss got to, he let me run it from top to bottom. So
cool.
I made posters for it, and I really tried to build it into like a thing that people would come to regularly. And Matt was one of those people that started coming to it regularly, starting, of course, with the Sonic the Hedgehog competition.
Right. Wow. So that's like a real thing. Like, he's really into Sonic.
Oh, yeah. And he showed up. It was funny. The first day I met him, I'll never forget, he showed up and he was wearing a Sonic the Hedgehog shirt. And he had his hair spiked up like he does.
Yeah.
And he won the competition, and I made a joke to him, something where I should have known the guy that with the Sonic shirt and the Sonic haircut would win the Sonic the Hedgehog competition.
Yeah.
So he started coming to those regularly, and we got to talking, and he was telling me that he was studying production.
Yeah.
And I had always, one of my goals with comedy had always been to do something in production, because as much as I like stand up, I had always been more into just comedy writing.
Yeah.
That was always my stronger suit in terms of stand up, was I would write good stuff, maybe not perform it so well, but I would write pretty good.
Yeah.
And so I started talking to him about potential things that we could do, like collaborate on. And he had a project going on called Zach Cooper's Epic Speed Run, which he hadn't started yet, but it was supposed to be a school final, basically.
Okay. Yeah.
And so he was like, hey, if you want to come on and help me with this, maybe look at the script, see if it's funny.
Yeah.
And so I checked it out, and I added stuff here and there, but it was mostly his script. I would say it was like 90% Matt's stuff, 10% jokes from me here and there. And I would come to the set and help out where I could, mostly buying food. Mostly not buying
helpful.
Food, but not buying it from me, but going out and getting it.
Sure, yeah.
I was the gopher, more or less, because I didn't know anything about anything when it came to production. And so we started working together like that, and we just kind of clicked creatively. We're really good about being, I guess, considerate of each other's ideas and sort of respectful of them.
That's a kicker.
That's a big one.
Yeah,
for sure.
Yeah, it's very important. And if we disagree on something, we're pretty good about like making a case against it.
Yeah.
If we feel strong enough against it, or
just compromising.
Yeah. For sure.
We definitely get along in that way.
Yeah, I tell Joe all of his ideas are crap, so
yeah.
I'm not good at that. I'm not. So.
One of these days, I'm going to have an original idea that actually makes it out into the world.
Never.
One could only hope. But like with Bagged and Board, that just came along because after Zach Cooper, we just were kind of in a sophomore slump, as Matt is fond of saying.
Yeah.
But it was true. We just didn't know what the hell we wanted to do next. They had all had some ideas that were more or less like, video game related sketch comedy type stuff, which was okay. But I'd always been sort of against it because I was like, I feel like we should put our effort into something that's a little bit more worthwhile. Like not as forgettable or as disposable as a 3-minute Mario sketch or whatever.
Right.
Yeah, sure.
But hell if I knew what that was going to be. You know what I mean?
Right, yeah.
And then so Matt came up with this idea for a sketch to do at the destination because Brian wanted us to shoot there. He wanted us to do anything.
Yeah.
Just as long as we were shooting something there. So Matt came up with this idea for a sketch with Jake and Kent just doing what they do.
Yeah. Which is now, what, is it episode 0?
Yeah, episode 0.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's what it was.
Okay, cool.
So he shot that, episode 0.
Yeah.
And I was looking at the rough cut of it, and I just loved it so much. Like I told Matt, I was like, this is what we need to work on next. Like this we need more of this.
Yeah, yeah.
We need to make this into like a series or or something.
Yeah.
And so me and Matt started working together to like come up with more characters for the destination, and then like story plot, some episode ideas and that kind of stuff.
Sure.
And I will say Matt definitely gets the credit for coming up with a lot of ideas because like when he's into an idea, he becomes upset, like frighteningly obsessed.
Sure. Yeah.
Which is how shit gets done, though.
Yeah, I was going to say.
True,
Yeah,
man. It's so, well, first of all,
that's how things get realized.
Like if people only knew what goes into each episode, like especially like as the shows progress, like Matt's become this kind of like ringleader of all of these different like pieces, like even me, like I just stepped in fairly recently the last couple episodes, but like if it weren't for Matt kind of poking at me like to get all of these songs, like the last episode I did 10 cues for like 10 different separate compositions. And it's just because like.
And so you can just imagine, you, Joe, can just imagine that he probably has his hands in lots of different things.
Right.
Like that, right? So he's not just prodding you, he's also prodding other people about other things.
Right.
And
so
coordinating
like,
and
all.
So
so as far as like production, like how does that work? Who does the scheduling for people and like rewind. Walk us through like writing a script. How does that work between? I know Sean gets his hands in that a little too, right?
Yeah. So the way it works is for season 1, what we did was we basically laid out ideas for like episode ideas, and then we try to figure out what order they would go in and that kind of stuff, and then I would just take the idea and try to write a bare bones script, just a rough draft of some sort to get us some idea of how this was going to work.
Yeah.
So I pretty much wrote like all the rough drafts, which it's people. I don't know how much people dwell on this, but it's a very difficult task.
Oh, I'm sure. Yeah.
When you get a script that says like Adam, or when you get an idea in that says like Adam gets taken to an underground pod club society.
Yeah.
figure out how that works.
Right.
Right.
It's it can be daunting to say the least. And Matt, thankfully, Matt will a lot of the times he'll have detailed notes, especially certain beats that he wants to happen. Like he wanted definitely Ninja Turtle references.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was definitely like a criteria I had to include.
Yeah.
And then just other stuff. And then so I would write this stuff up. A lot of the times I would think of jokes on my own, but knowing how funny Matt's funny, but like knowing how funny Kent, Sean, and the other, Jake and all them are.
Oh yeah.
A lot of the times, I get people joke around with me about this, but a lot of the times in the script I'll just leave it open to them. Like I'll literally write in the script like. In this line, Kent improvises something.
Right. Yeah.
Right.
And then
that's just utilizing what you have.
That's true.
Right. Yeah.
That what they're going to come up with is going to be something unique to them.
Well, and I forget who it was. And I think it was Sean Keller, but I forget if it was on the podcast or just in life. But somebody who works, one of the actors was talking about how sort of awesome you are at kind of just rolling with the punches, like people offering new lines and things like that.
Oh yeah.
And that can be tough to do, right? I mean, if you write something
definitely.
and or at least you're the main writer or a big part of it or whatever, it can be hard to sort of flex and move
and let go of
maybe
even an idea that you
the sort of kill your darlings kind of
sure
thing.
Exactly.
But
oh yeah, there was the most recent idea that I had to let go of was in the upcoming episode. I wanted to do a gag where it was basically a joke that references the Street Fighter movie, the live action movie.
Oh yeah.
I don't know if you guys remember
Jean-Claude.
Yeah. I don't know if you guys remember, but one of the things that happened in that movie was Bison is supposed to pay Sagat for something, some services rendered or whatever. And Sagat opens the briefcase and it's just a bunch of dollar bills with Bison's face on it. It was like currency that he had created.
Yeah. Good.
And he's like, "What is this?" And Bison's like, "It's Bison dollars.
That's right.
They're worth $5 or 5 British pounds or something like that." It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
It's just the silliest thing. And so I wanted to do a joke like that in the episode 6, which we haven't at this point put out yet. But I wanted to do a similar joke where spoilers, where Johnny Masters does the same thing to Brian Kennison, where Brian wants his money for the laptop, and he's like, "Well, when am I going to get paid for this laptop?" And then Johnny would be like, "Here is your payment." It's like Johnny dollars, but with his face on it.
That's great.
Almost beat for beat the exact same stuff.
Yeah.
And I wanted it so bad, but it just Matt
didn't come out.
had to talk me off the ledge.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
But we include all of Matt's obscure ass stuff he wants to get in there. We definitely all the Mortal Kombat, all the asides, the really obscure references. Oh, remember this part in Mortal Kombat where Liu Kang goes, "What?" Well, we're going to include that because everyone knows that part, right?
Right. Well, see, that's what I think is so interesting about the show. I get probably 40% of the references, but it's enough.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
There's enough there for such a, I guess, a broad spectrum of nerddom.
No,
I guess.
it's absolutely
Does that
true.
make sense?
I mean, that's one of the things, and it's a testament to your sort of the skeletal writing of the show, right? That it's not just the strength of the show is not just the references; those are funny,
Right.
But if it was just references that was holding the thing up, it wouldn't be
For
as
example,
great as it is, right?
I don't and haven't really watched any anime. I watched Akira at one point when I was younger. But episode 5 kicked on all cylinders regardless for me. You know
exactly. Yeah.
I've heard that a lot from people, that even if they don't get all the references, they really enjoyed it anyway.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's great. That's exactly what we were going for.
Yeah.
And I think part of the enjoyment is that we have such just really good, great characters, really well thought out characters that are performed really well by the cast.
Man, especially this latest episode, you're really building people that the audience is going to care about. You
Right.
know what I mean?
Right.
Exactly. Yeah.
And that's like, it's especially like the way you did the flashbacks in episode 5. Like I want to say the first show I ever saw do that kind of thing. Now everybody does, even Arrow does it, but was Lost.
Oh yeah.
So the kind of the two timelines going back and forth. It's just a really good way to develop those.
Make them three-dimensional characters,
To develop feelings for these fictional characters.
Oh yeah, like sure. Matt was what was one of his things. Like he gets like one of the thing to his credit. Like he when it comes to some episodes,
he does one thing.
He gets fixated. He gets fixated on one particular thing that he really wants to like make part of the episode.
Yeah.
So like with Pod Club, he wanted those Ninja Turtle.
Yeah.
He wanted that vibe, the Ninja Turtles vibe. And he was like gonna, he had to get that vibe. And so with episode 5, he wanted that Lost. He definitely wanted that vibe, like what they did in Lost, to be used in there.
Sure.
So to go back real quick, to the writing process. So like I'll write the script and then I'll give it to Matt, and so Matt will go through it. He'll like add stuff he thinks should be in there, take stuff he thinks should be out. He always tells me the stuff, of course, that he's taking out and why. But and then he'll either send it to Sean to see what he wants, what his thoughts are. Sure. And of course, when Sean's thoughts is to just rewrite the whole script himself most of the time, but we tell him that's not what we want him to do.
Right.
But like I think he wanted his episode to be a 2-parter, of course.
Sure. Which is strange because who would want to spend that much time in a hot dog suit?
Yeah. I think he was glad that he didn't get that 2-parter after we shot his episode.
Yeah.
After the one full episode of having to basically be available to shoot constantly. Yeah. Because he's the main thrust of the story.
Yeah.
Was a lot.
Totally.
And then April got to feel a little bit of that with episode 5.
Yeah.
It's like you were talking about Matt's prodding.
Yeah, right.
That comes into full swing when you're like the star of the episode.
I'm sure. Yeah. It's a smart way. I mean, it's a smart way to go for 2 reasons to have these sort of character-focused episodes. Is
give people a break. Yeah.
To give people a break, and then also to develop the characters, so you get enough time with the character. So it's sort of twofold.
If you have
thing.
like a 15 or 20 minute episode, like you can't just have like a full. You can't have eyes on the whole cast every episode.
Right. You can't have subplots or.
It's sort of like the best features of the 4th season of Arrested Development. I don't know if you ever watched that, but that whole show is like ensemble, and then the 4th one they have this is this person's episode, this is this person's, and it's a lot of people dog that episode or that season for that, but this is that in the best way. You know what I'm saying? Because it's not it's not Arrested Development. That's what it reminds me of. Such an ensemble show in the first like 3 episodes, right? It's about everybody bouncing off each other, and then you get to sort of explore different people, which is really cool.
And it was very practically. It was done for practical purposes too, because it was like one thing we learned quickly with episode 1 and 2. When we were filming was that it was a pain in the ass trying to get everyone's schedules together to film this stuff.
Totally.
And it took forever to film it. With everyone there, it took a long time. Because, everyone's, the cast is really fun, and, we don't have like a very strict, you guys been on set. There's not like a strict, everyone shut the fuck up, we're trying to work here kind of thing going on. We try to like have fun.
Sure.
And sometimes the cast will have too much fun in terms of like they'll break each other during a take on purpose. Sean Keller is one of the worst people when it comes to this. Like he'll make faces or do stuff to try to get to break Kent or whoever he's interacting with in the scene, and so it would just make shoots go a lot longer. And so it got to the point where we were like, okay, we got to have, if we're going to get anything done, we've got to do episodes that don't require everyone to be at the store.
Yeah.
And it actually was it turned out to be a great idea because, like you said, it gives us a chance to see these characters a little bit more closely, and develop them more. And my only regret is that we weren't able to do similar episodes with Veronica and Jake,
right?
But season 2, baby.
Yeah, there you go. Like, because like And it makes sense not to do episodes with them yet because in this season, Veronica was more or less a punchline.
Sure.
Like
they're definitely supporting characters.
Yeah. Jake has sort of his thing going on with his sort of snarkiness on the sidelines, reading the comic all the time.
Sure.
So they were just sort of they're supporting characters at this point, but like by season 2 they're going to be like more ingrained.
Yeah. In episode 5, the flashback of Jake and Kent, like where they're like,
oh yeah,
Kent's like,
totally,
it's my best friend.
It's my best friend. Hope nothing ever comes between us.
In that moment, I was like, just that much more intrigued and interested in Jake's character,
in the dynamic. Yeah,
he's the kind of character that, like, especially in like a Podcast of Doom, you're just kind of pissed at him.
Yeah,
like, dude, you're ruining everything for this guy.
Right,
and you just really want to know what happened, and like, I don't know.
Yeah,
it made his character that much more likable.
Yeah,
you know
I can't
wait.
I can't wait to find out what happened too.
Yeah.
I think Matt, everyone involved can't wait.
Yeah. That's great.
Whenever you're writing a script, what's your software of choice? Are you
that's an
do you go into like script or screenplay writing?
Just pull up the
software,
old
or do you
text
do
edit.
or you just do like Word? Or
I
what?
just use Notepad.
No.
Like
Oh yeah.
No,
Microsoft Paint actually.
Yeah. Weird. Like the good old rich text format.
The text function.
No, I just use Microsoft Word, and like my script. I mean, it's like I try to write in a sort of what I know of, like as a script.
Yeah.
It might not be technically correct in a lot of ways. Like that's one thing Sean does too.
You mean formatting wise?
Formatting,
yeah.
Like when we send the script to him, he'll like format it. And
okay, I was gonna say I saw a script. We met Matt and Sean right before I stepped on board to do music, and just to kind of meet about it one day. And Sean was looking over a script, and it was like formatted like a script. So, I was curious.
I just try to write it like a script, and it's it can be difficult. Like one thing about writing scripts that I hate is that I write a lot better in prose. Like that's what I was. I don't want to say trained, but like I went to school and studied like English, like writing.
Cool.
In school.
Yeah.
And that my focus was always on prose writing.
Gotcha.
And so writing a script feels so much more stop and go. Like the pacing is a lot more frustrating than in prose.
Well, totally, because in prose, like you're like the god of that world. You know what I mean? You it's each word is like part of the craft. Whereas in a script, or even if you're writing a comic, for example, it's like description. One person is really interesting, Alan Moore. Have you ever read any of his comic scripts?
I haven't read I read a lot of his comics, but
he writes scripts in prose to the artist.
Yeah.
So the way he there's these big blocks of prose.
They released The Killing Joke, right?
Yeah, for the artist to read. It's like the artist is reading this book, but it is a direct conversation with the artist. Like but at the same time, like it's just like it's not like, okay, panel 1. You see this?
Yeah.
No.
Words, dialogue. But I would be the same way. I'm more of a prose writer. So if you're just writing action and then dialogue, action and then dialogue, it feels very. I could imagine it feeling really choppy.
Had you worked on script format before? I mean, aside from working with Matt.
Oh
you had worked on it before.
Yeah. I before I even moved up here, I started when YouTube started, when it was the thing and it just started. I tried to do a lot of funny videos and stuff on YouTube.
Yeah,
I shot them all with it was like this stick camera. It was like it's just terrible.
Yeah,
these videos are okay for what they are, but they're pretty awful. Also,
are they still up?
Yeah, they're still up. You can look them up. It's on my YouTube.
Nice,
and they're just like. It's more or less just me just playing around with the camera and editing software.
Yeah.
But once I got the bug, I was like, it'd be fun to make a movie or something like that. And so I started writing, I wrote a script for a movie.
Yeah.
like I was very proud because I finished it. Because a lot of times I would start a script and just get bored.
Yep.
This time I like finished the whole draft of this movie, and then I ended up hating it. Finished the draft. And I was like, I don't want to go back and finish. I don't want to do the final of this.
Right. Was it like a feature length?
That's
movie?
part of it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Cool.
Yeah, I could imagine that to be. I mean, there are probably like really fun parts to write, but then like the connective like tissue of the writing process, getting from this fun part to this fun part can be really difficult. Or if you're writing a short story or anything like that, it's just like trying to fill in those gaps can be like hard to push through.
Well, like this movie had a lot of time travel elements, so if that gives you an idea of what a headache it would have been to like go through and
keeping the logic of the story together or something.
Revise this thing.
It's dude, the time travel is like it has to make sense to their narrative you've created.
Right.
It doesn't have to make sense to
anything
what
else.
we know. As long as it works within itself.
Right.
Whatever the rules of that world you've created. But yeah, I wouldn't do it. I wouldn't do that.
Do you have like broad strokes idea of where season 2 of Bagged and Board is going to go, or at this point? I'm not asking you to tell us them, but if you had to write 500 words on what season 2 is going to be about, could you do it at this point, or is it a blank slate? to you?
I mean, like we've already started to sort of lay out the episode guide, like trying to lay out the episodes.
Cool.
Matt's kind of wanting me to go ahead and start writing scripts, and stuff.
Yeah, very cool.
So I mean, we're getting started on season 2. Of course, a lot of that, whether or not we do it is on whether or not we're able to raise money for it, because we want to make sure that people are getting paid for their time and stuff this time around. But I can tell you, like a lot of season, I don't want to spoil season 1, but I will say about season 2, it's going to be a lot different than season 1 in that. Kent's main focus in this season has been getting over his ex-girlfriend, sort of trying to like hook up with this new girl, Veronica.
Right.
His character for the most part has been sort of like kind of walking the line between likable and unlikable.
Yeah.
By the end of the season, he's going to like cross that line. I don't know. I'm not going to tell you which way he crosses it, but
in some way. Yeah.
In some way, he crosses that line, and season 2 will be kind of more or less him sort of dealing with, the aftermath, I guess, of that. And we've got some sort of big ideas going for like Adam's episode, because he'll get into some hijinks again. Similar to Pod Club.
Yeah. That's cool. That's cool that you guys are already thinking that far ahead. I mean, that's good. It's smart. But it's cool. I'm intrigued. I'm curious.
So for you, Adam's episode, is it all like? Is it literal?
Oh yeah.
How does it play for you? Because I mean,
great question.
If you watch it, it can honestly play either way.
Sure. Yeah.
It can play to where
does it happen
those
or
things
does it not
happened,
happen? Yeah.
But from Adam's perception of the way things happened, it's that much more embellished. I guess. Because we talked to Matt, and he has in his head, it's all like what you see is what you get. I'm just wondering if that's kind of how you see it.
Oh yeah, that's how I see it. Yeah, that's kind of how we planned it from the start, and if it seems like it was all in his head, that was entirely incidental.
That's interesting. That's like cool.
When we got done editing it, and we were showing it to people, and people started asking us that or telling us that. Like my mom saw it, and she was like, "Oh, I thought it was so neat how it was all just like a fantasy." And I was like, "Oh no, that's not."
That's not what that is.
Well, see, for me, like when I watched it, like those things actually happened, but his just perception of what, like, are different than how they actually happen.
So you read it as you're seeing Adam's perception of things,
right?
As opposed
for example, if you read like Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas.
Right.
The prose is very different than what actually happened. There aren't actually people walking around that are lizard people.
Yeah.
That's just the drugs. You know?
Yeah. So this would just be Adam's strange mind.
Right, exactly. Exactly.
You're not in bat country.
Because if I remember correctly, that's really the most fantastical, I guess, thing so far. Within episodes 1 through 5,
it's pretty out there.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah,
but like
a bomb goes off.
A bomb from
from a slammer.
The idea of a slammer, like a radioactive atomic slammer. I mean, when I wrote this stuff, I didn't think any of it was going to make it. Like,
and
like,
now it exists.
Now it's
in
canon.
the world.
It's canon now.
Yeah, when I wrote that he throws a slammer and it blows up, I was like, well, I'm sure Matt's going to be like, well, we can't make this happen, so think of something else.
Yeah.
But no, we did it.
That's awesome.
So as far as making stuff blow up, is that the visual effects? Is that Aaron?
Yes.
Who does those?
It's Aaron. That's his main responsibility when it comes to the show is like special effects and stuff. Besides being a sex twin,
being an actor, being a sex twin,
That whose idea was to make that just super uncomfortable? Is it because like when you're watching like Rocket Power, Team Rocket, when you're watching Team Rocket, those undertones kind of exist, but not really.
Oh, you know what? I kind of, now that I think about it, those twins are kind of a perfect example of like my writing sensibility and Matt's writing sensibility, because it was his idea to have twins. Like I just had in my rough draft, it was just Sarah. It was just one sister, and he thought, well, that's not interesting enough. We need to make them twins. And I was like, oh, that's kind of cool. And he's like, they should be like Team Rocket. And I was like, I'm sold.
Yeah,
that's great. And then I write the script and I give it to him, and I wrote in all the gross sexual overtones with the twins. Yeah. So yeah, Matt's got his like wholesome.
Right,
Pokemon
it's
reference.
It's Team Rocket. Like, no, it's not. It's the Team Summer Sex Twins. Oh, God. But I mean, that's also something to where like if the performance wasn't there, it just may not work.
Oh,
you know what I mean?
For sure.
Because they sold it.
Oh, they
sold
killed it.
With the way in which they performed it.
Well, it's just like Sarah is just. I mean, not to discredit, Aaron at all. He did a great job, but Sarah was someone I wanted to get involved in the show like immediately. Like when I moved to Louisville and did comedy, like the first year, she was at this. She did stand up.
Okay.
At, the comedy club, and it was just like a one night only thing. Like I didn't know who she was. She just went up there doing an open mic and did stand up and just killed. Like she was great.
Cool.
She just has a very natural delivery, like comedic timing and stuff. And so like I went up to her and I was like, man, like how long have you been doing this? She's like, oh, this is my first night. I was like,
nice.
Oh, that was like, that's great. So when are you gonna be back here next week? She's like, no, I just wanted to do it once. And then she never did it again.
Wow. That's amazing.
Just comes in, crushes, like makes us all look like fools, and then leaves. And so
I was just toying. I'm just having a good time.
Yeah, and of course she plays it as if it was like she'll be modest about it, but she was great.
Yeah.
And I remember thinking like, okay, I don't know who this girl is, but I got to work with her on something at some point because she's just awesome. And like the more I would see her in plays and other projects she would be involved in, and she was always consistently great.
Cool.
And so when Bag and Board started, I had that was the same way I was with April. That's why I did most of the casting for the show, because in my back, like, that was another thing I guess I did for the show that I don't really talk about much, but like in the back of my head, there's always been people I've known or worked with as I did comedy that I've met, and I've always would like sort of file them away, like as like, oh, that person's got something that would be great. And then when we would think of these episodes, we were like, oh, we need someone to play this Sarah, or her name wasn't Sarah, but the sex twin.
Yeah.
And I was like, Sarah East. I need to call her. She'd be perfect for this.
Yeah.
Or whatever.
That's cool.
Yeah, and the way in which
that's awesome.
she and Aaron kind of like the way in which they their like dialect and the way in which they delivered their lines were very like they played off each other really well.
Right.
So I could imagine. Again, that's just one of those things where the planets aligned and it worked.
Yeah,
yeah,
it worked really well.
They were great. Like I remember when we did the script read the first time, they immediately had chemistry for these characters. I think a lot of it, like again, I think a lot of it was because Sarah jumped right in. Like, she just dived right into this whole idea, this whole concept, and was like had ideas, her own ideas of how to do it and how to do the character, and it made it a lot easier for Aaron, who's not an actor, to sort of bounce off of her, to sort of follow kind of her lead, more or less.
Definitely, that's awesome. So switching gears one last time.
Okay.
One other thing I wanted to ask you about is you and Kent, right, are starting to do a podcast.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
I wanted to make sure to talk about that while we had you here.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I want to have you guys both on whenever it's like up and going, and
sure.
But yeah, tell us about that a little bit.
Definitely, and likewise, I definitely would like to have you guys on.
Oh, totally.
Up and
most
going.
Definitely.
So the name of the podcast is Kill Screen Cinema.
Yeah.
The idea is to watch me, Kent, and then a guest or guests.
Yeah.
Watch a movie that's based on a video game, or a movie about video games.
Yeah.
Just as long as it involves video games of
Totally.
some sort. And so it can range from anything from the Super Mario Brothers movie to The Wizard.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
So if that gives you an idea.
Totally.
And we watch the movie, not on the podcast, but we watch the movie and then we talk about it on the podcast.
Cool. So you watch it beforehand and then chat about it.
And then we chat about it. And the idea came from... so like when Pixel Brain was in our sophomore slump and we were trying to think of stuff to do, we tried our hand at doing a podcast, and it was okay. But the episodes I felt like were the best that we did. The ones that I felt like were more interesting was the ones where we would watch a movie and talk about it.
Yeah.
And so we did a podcast episode for the Super Mario Brothers movie and had Kent on, and we just had a really really funny, lively conversation about it. And I remember, telling Matt, I was like, "This is what our podcast should be. It's just this."
Yeah.
And he was like, "Oh no, we shouldn't just do this all the time. We should chat about other stuff." And I was like, "No one cares about us talking about other stuff. They want us to talk about movies, these stupid video game movies."
Yeah.
But before we could work it out on what direction it went, the podcast we just stopped doing it.
Sure.
And so I wanted to revive it to some, in some way, shape, or form. And so I went to Brian Barrow with the idea.
Yeah.
Just pitched it to him.
Mr. Podcasts.
Right. Mr. Podcast Network.
Sir Barrow.
Exactly.
And I pitched to him with me, with just me and Kent hosting.
Yeah.
Originally, it was me, Matt, and Aaron who hosted the other podcast.
Oh, okay.
But it was just, I felt like it was just too many cooks.
Sure.
And so I thought it would just, and Matt's too busy. Like he stretches himself too thin.
Right.
Yeah.
Like he's got all this stuff going on. The last thing he needs is to have to record podcasts every week or every 2 weeks.
Yeah.
And watch movies and all this other stuff.
Yeah, that's
So I was like, I think it'll work better with me and Kent and then one guest. And so I just pitched it to Brian, and we've done two episodes so far.
cool.
That are just sort of in the can, and we're waiting to get a logo and a theme, so that we can start putting them online.
Cool.
So I think I'm supposed to meet with Brian soon about that. So
I imagine we'll talk to you probably
Yeah.
about
I
themes.
guess so.
Yeah, because
That's how that's been going. So
the Nerdstalgia theme, Bagged and Bearded, Button Mashers,
some other stuff.
Grog on Geek, and something else.
Yep, something else. We did 5, didn't we? I don't know. Who knows?
Peg warmers? Is that
we haven't done
we
that
didn't
one
do
yet.
them yet. We haven't
met
done
with them
Damn
yet.
Good Podcast either. But we're going to talk
they
to
have
those
so
guys.
many shows.
So many shows. So many shows.
And we don't even have a new theme for our show.
Yeah,
we
exactly.
just do the same old one.
Ours is the one where we're like, what should we do? I don't know. No idea.
Who cares?
Who cares? We'll figure it out. So, yeah. Well, that's cool. Do you know when that's happening, or is it going to be? It's sort of just on the long-term horizon kind of thing.
Right now, it's on the long-term horizon. Like I would like to get it up. I mean, as soon as we have a logo done and like a theme set up, like I would like to get it up as soon as possible.
Yeah, sure.
We've got 2 episodes done. We're hoping to record a 3rd one, but I don't want to keep recording episodes if it keeps if it seems like we're never going to get this stuff up.
Yeah. Did you record them at Brian's place at the studios?
Yeah,
Cool.
We record at Brian's place, which is really fun.
Yeah.
It was really nice of Brian to let us do that.
Totally.
Yeah. So, and then we usually watch the movie at my place or just separately. It just depends on everyone's time. Yeah. I prefer us watching it together because I think we would, think of funny jokes to sort of funny talking points together to talk about on the episode.
Yeah, definitely.
That way. But, it's whatever works for anyone.
Yeah, I'm definitely going to keep an eye out. Let me know if you haven't made any progress on that. We'll definitely have you guys back on.
Oh, yeah.
To chat about that. That'd be super fun.
Yeah.
We should ask you about music, probably, because ostensibly we're a music podcast.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that's what we're supposed to be, even though we're kind of not. But sometimes.
So you like into like
so ask away.
like Riverdance or like what?
How you feel about Nicki Minaj? That's the only question. No,
that episode she's the one that does that video with the butts, right?
I think so. I think she's the butts one. Is she the butts one?
The bubble butt?
No, not that.
Have you seen the bubble butt?
I've seen the bubble butt. Yeah.
Bubble butt. Bubble.
Who
butt.
is that?
Bubble butt. I
don't even know.
Bubble butt.
I can't remember it. It surprised me when someone told me who it was.
You had heard of the artist, but you didn't know that they did bubble butt?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
Yeah.
He did bubble butt. Anyway.
Yeah.
We started off a podcast once watching bubble butt.
Yeah, for sure.
Let's see. Anyway, I think that video was gross.
Oh, you don't like the giant butts with the tubes going right into the anus and filling and.
Oh no, that one. I mean, that one's gross too. But like, I'm talking about the other Nicki Minaj video.
Oh,
the one with all the butts.
I don't think I've seen that one. We'll
is
watch
it like they're in a forest or something, and there's like snakes.
Oh, like a butt
something
forest?
like that. Yeah, like a butt forest. Sort of,
yeah, they're like in the forest, and the women are dressed up like cave women, I guess. And
I've seen that.
Yeah, and they're just clapping their asses, and I'm just like, that's not me. Yeah. I mean, I like asses as much as the next guy, but I'm not into the whole,
the clapping part
asses, is the twerking and all that shit.
Totally. Right. Yeah. Well, what are you into musically? What do you like? If you had it, or maybe nothing. I don't know.
No,
I don't want to force.
I'm not I'm into I like music. I'm kind of weird in that I like music to listen to, like when I'm working or driving or anything like that. But like I have to be doing something. I can't just sit and listen to music.
Yeah.
And so so that being said, like I don't like go to very many like music, like live music shows.
Sure. Yeah.
So like, people will be like, "Hey, Craig, you want to go see such and such?" And I'm like, "Why?" I could just listen to them on my phone while I'm playing video games. I don't want to stand in a crowd and listen to them play live music, which won't sound as good as the studio.
I can't mow my yard and go to a concert at the same time.
Exactly. Yeah.
So when I say I'm not a music guy, that's kind of what I mean, I guess. Yeah. But like. I do like a lot of music, and I think here like my tastes change from time to time. Like in high school, I was into like rock and just aggressive. Like I fucking hate high school music.
Right. Yeah.
Anything that reflected my angst for high school.
That's an important part of the process.
And just being a teenager that's balding at 16. That kind of thing.
Sure.
So there was a lot of Korn, a lot of what was it? Disturbed. A lot of that shit. A lot of Rob Zombie.
Sure.
And then as I grew older, I started to get into more electronica stuff. So it's like actually on my way over here, I was listening to Bjork and
cool.
Like DJ Shadow has always been someone I like, and stuff like that.
Cool.
You know, I'm into like I'm a big gamer, so I'm into video game music.
Nice.
I love listening to that kind of stuff.
Yeah. That I imagine that's good stuff. Like Joe's been doing this for a long time, but I've just taken up sort of when I'm working, listening to like scores, stuff with no lyrics. You know what I'm saying, or at least non-English lyrics.
What we like to call music here in America.
I don't know about that, but I imagine video game scores are the same way, right? Like they're sort of immersive, and you can have them going on while you're doing something.
Yeah, exactly, like and. I think that's one of the reasons why I primarily listen to a lot of electronica now that I think about it, is because it's easy to listen to when you're working on something or when you're writing, because there's no lyrics usually.
Yeah.
It's weird how you can like say stuff without saying words.
Right, yeah. You don't need... Isn't it kind of weird? It is funny how lyrics have become so much of a... Like, it's become like such a part of music that... people are weirded out when it's not there, or if they're foreign. Like I like a lot of foreign music too. I don't care if I don't know what they're saying. It sounds cool. Like I know there's a lot of Japanese music I like, a lot of Japanese bands that I like, that I learned about through anime, and stuff like that. And they sound great. I don't know what they're saying. I know some of it.
There's there's a trend of it's called like glitch music or something now, to where it's just sounds, like human voice sounds, just made into different melodies and different sounds, but they're not saying anything at all. Or like if you listen to like Skrillex or something,
just like the voice chopped up.
The one Skrillex song I've heard, the one where it's like, oh my god, that one. There's a verse. And you can it's somebody saying something. Oh my god! It's like somebody from like
it's from a YouTube
video or something. But the rest of it is like
it's just vowel sounds clipped up, and
just
put in
cut up and glitched.
It's like Bjork did an album like that called Medulla.
Oh really?
Where it's mostly there's no music, there's no actual instruments. It's just people singing or making sounds, and she actually had Mike Patton from Faith No More on that album, because he's got like an incredible voice, very versatile, and he does a lot of that kind of shit, like beatboxing, whatever kind of noises you need him to make. He's very good at making them.
Yeah.
He has I think he has his own album of him just doing that shit.
Yeah. That's cool, man. I haven't listened to very much Bjork. My girlfriend's really into.
Yeah, I haven't either.
I feel like,
but it's what I feel like something I should have accomplished at this point in my life.
I know, like when she's going through like a Bjork phase and she plays it in the car, I'm like, yes. Why don't I listen to Bjork?
Right?
Yeah.
That's what happened to me.
Yeah.
I think around college, I was like, why am I not? I was watching. I was watching The Professional.
Okay.
And there's a Bjork song on there called Venus as a Boy.
Yeah.
And I've always liked it. Whenever I watch the movie and that music it's like playing during I think it's the montage of when he's teaching her how to shoot a gun and stuff.
Like, what a movie. That's a solid movie.
Oh, great movie. One of my favorites. And like that song, I would love that scene because of that song. And and finally it dawned on me, like, why am I not just like, I should just look up more of her shit. Like, because I love that song so much.
Totally.
And like, I'm glad I did, because her, what I like about her, and I tend to be this way with a lot of the music I like. Yeah. None of her albums sound the same. Like they're all extremely different from each other.
Yeah, just super eclectic.
Very eclectic. Yeah. And like, that's one of the reasons why she's one of my favorite musicians. Why Mike Patton is one of my favorite musicians. He's like Faith No More is one of my favorite bands, and it's mostly because like every album sounds different. And then Mike Patton himself is in multiple bands like Tomahawk and Mr. Bungle, and even those sound different. Like,
does Mr. Bungle have one of the guys from Primus in it? Is that correct?
Yes, I believe so. Yeah.
Okay.
I can. I'm not 100% sure, but like just thinking about that first album and hearing some of that, like just thinking of some of that music, it definitely sounds very Primus.
Got some Primus influence.
Yeah.
Huh. Cool.
Yeah. I think it's also interesting how like I haven't heard much Bjork, I guess, in my lifetime, which is stupid, and I'm almost 30, you know.
Right.
But I'm sure it's also a thing to where, like, I'm sure her albums are very different, but there's still that one thing probably that even if you don't realize what it is, that ties
maybe
that
so.
sound together, I guess. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, maybe so. I mean, even if it's not a sort of instrumentation sound or something, it's probably
like
a tonal structure or
whether
something
it's
like that. That makes
you can
it.
change genres completely, but like,
yeah.
Well, I mean, think about
well, if you write a song, it's like, I mean, you or the broader sense, you. If you write a song, like it's you writing the song, you will have certain tendencies musically, and you'll hear certain resolves over others and things
exactly.
like that. You know?
And I just think that's super interesting.
Well, I think part of it is that when she writes her albums, she tends to write in a way, like she tends to like go for tones that like the best way to explain it is like for Medulla, the album I just mentioned with all the people singing. There's a lot of songs. I want to say there's a lot of songs on that album that have to do with the ocean, and so she kind of tries to go for a tone that would suit the ocean, I guess.
Yeah.
And then there's my favorite album of hers is Vespertine, and it's got sort of a winter tone, like a winter theme going on. So a lot of the instruments she uses in that just puts you in mind of winter.
Sure.
Like it's I can't identify them because I don't.
Sure. Yeah. But
I don't know instruments, but
you're not a music scientist.
No. Exactly.
A music scientist. That's awesome.
A lot of the instruments she uses, I want to say you would commonly hear them being used in like Christmas carols.
Sure.
Or Christmas songs.
Yeah. Totally. Well, that's very cool. Yeah, I gotta listen to some Bjork now.
Totally.
You do, yeah.
Yeah, and it's crazy too with Spotify. Like I'll find myself making these big playlists, but wow, this is gonna go somewhere different. Do you find yourself whenever music's just super easily accessible, you actually listen to less than you would have if you had bought an album and like listened to it?
Oh yeah.
So like, if I do Spotify now, I don't buy many albums much anymore because like I don't make a ton of money.
Yeah.
But I can afford like $10 a month or whatever it is to listen to whatever's on Spotify and do that thing.
Right.
But I find that if I invest in a specific album, if I pay $10 for just those 10 songs, I'll wear those songs out.
Yeah.
Whereas if I could listen to whatever I want to on Spotify, I'm like, I don't. It's like somewhere deep inside of me, I don't value them as much as if, you know what I mean?
Yeah. I'm the same way. Yeah, no, like I'm more liable to like just listen to my playlist on my phone than I am to listen to Pandora.
Yeah,
because it's like I know what I want to hear.
Yeah,
and so I'm just gonna listen to the particular songs that I'm in the mood for.
Yeah,
and I haven't bought an album in forever. Like Faith No More put out a new album recently, and I still haven't bought that. And
so it's your fault that the music industry died.
Yeah, people like me.
Yours individually.
You did it.
Here's the thing: is like I would listen to CDs, and I'm a completionist, I guess. So like I'll try to listen to the whole thing.
Yeah,
and it's very rare to listen to. I feel like it's very rare to listen to an album where you like it the whole way through.
Sure.
Yeah. Even marketing for like if you look at pop radio and where money is still spent, like 20 years ago money was spent across the board for a lot of different artists and a lot of investments were made, but now it's like a lot more hand-picked. Like you have like your 10 singles on pop radio and everyone else is kind of doing DIY stuff. But even so, those companies aren't trying to sell albums anymore. If anything, they're trying to sell 99-cent singles.
Right.
You know what I mean? Because that's like a tangible thing now. Like they're like, well, people aren't going to buy albums, and like, well, they're not going to want to buy songs either. They're going to want to just either stream them or
it's almost like there's no value to B-sides anymore.
Yeah,
in some sense.
Yeah,
I don't know if it's B-sides. I don't know if that's how you put it, but
you
need hits, right, or something.
Yeah, 1985 called.
It's still called B-sides. Come on. That's a common phrase.
Yeah, it is.
It's like rewind, even though we don't do that.
Yeah. I still rewind sometimes.
Really? Oh,
Yeah.
I see. When you're talking.
I did that earlier.
Yeah, I know. That's what I'm saying.
No, for like for my job, like for scrubbing through stuff.
See. Yeah.
Sometimes I just click back, but other times I scrub back.
But you are not rewinding anything. That presumes that there's something that was wound up.
Oh,
right?
Yes.
I mean, that's a old. Yeah. It's a vestigial term, if you will. It's like an appendix of vocabulary.
Remember when you couldn't skip forward to the next track?
I could. You mean on a CD?
No, let's go.
Like a cassette?
On a cassette?
On a cassette.
Oh, yeah.
I remember I was probably like, I don't know, like 8 or 10 years old. My dad just got a new car. He got a Maxima.
Nice.
And
my dad had a Maxima.
Nice. And the cassette player in his car could sense the dead space on the tape.
Nice.
So you hit fast forward,
and it went to the next song.
Click,
I remember
and then
that.
It would start the next song, and that's crazy.
Oh,
but you'd have to wait for it.
Yeah, you got to wait for it to. Yeah, exactly.
I think I didn't really experience that much because back then I was not into music enough where I wanted to own very many cassette tapes. I think I had the Ghostbusters 2 soundtrack.
Yeah.
And then and then Green Jelly.
Nice.
Those were the only tapes I owned as a kid.
That's awesome.
Because I was like, I wouldn't be able to buy them myself. It would just be something my parents would buy. And if they're going to buy me something, I want them to buy me video games.
Totally. Right. For me, it was like, I got hand-me-downs. So, like, I had 4 tapes in rotation.
Right.
I had Michael Jackson's Thriller. I had Van Halen's Greatest Hits, which was half Van Halen, half Van Hagar.
Yeah.
Right.
And then I had Batman Forever soundtrack with Seal on
that.
it.
Yeah, I had that one.
And then I had Turtles on Tour coming out of the shelves.
Nice.
Those were my 4 cassettes that I remember having.
Oh my god,
that's great.
Turtles on Tour.
Which that made an appearance in a couple of podcasts ago.
Yeah,
not the tape itself, but just the memories.
That's amazing. Well, how long have we been going? We've been going over an hour.
Yeah, I think we've slapped it around pretty good.
Yeah. Well, thank you very much, Craig, for being here.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Appreciate it. I don't know. This may not work out, but do you still have the recording? I was going to say thank you very much for helping us with the Japanese. In that song.
Yeah.
And I was wondering if you still had Craig's recording. Because there was one where like you're reading some Japanese and you read it out and you go, oh, that one sucks.
Yeah.
I probably have that in my text messages.
Yeah.
I think you sent it to Matt and Matt sent it to me.
Yeah.
So we'll put at the end of this episode we'll do like a making of kind of thing to where we'll let for those of you who don't know, we worked on this song on episode 5 of Bagged and Board, and it's supposed to be this Japanese kind of cheesy Japanese anthem with Japanese verse and an English chorus,
and it's over the closing credits.
And none of us know or speak any Japanese at all, except for Craig knew how to say some just words, just kind of some normal words. So he recorded himself saying these words, sent it to Matt, who was in the studio with us, and then we would played it aloud. And then as you read on the recording, we'd write them down phonetically,
write down the phonics,
and we would count the syllables to the melody that I had written.
Yep.
And that's how that song came to be.
It's crazy because it's like, I would probably wager that it's one of the best songs that we've had on the show so far. Awesome. It's like so catchy, and it's actually very beautiful. It's like a beautiful, catchy song.
Well, see, whenever I wrote it on piano, and which is funny because I can't play the piano. I just tap around until something sounds good. But my approach was for most of the tracks in that episode were to take them completely seriously.
Yeah.
And then let the silly words on top do what they do, but underneath it all, I wanted the composition to be like I wanted it to take itself seriously. I suppose
that's great. I mean, I think it resulted in a really good song. I kind of wish it was like there was a full version of it.
Yeah, we could do that. Yeah,
Yeah.
It
Yeah.
originally
Right.
had 2 choruses, but
Yeah.
we couldn't stretch the animations out long enough at the end of the the episode.
I'm pretty sure Matt will probably have you do that in the near
Yeah.
future.
Totally, we should.
Because people have been asking us for, like, to put out, either on YouTube or on iTunes, probably YouTube, just put out some of the music.
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah.
This Is How We Slam and
Yeah.
Yeah.
some of the other stuff. And
Right.
yeah, I think that song was what made someone ask us about that.
Nice.
Oh, that's
'Cause
killer.
Very
They
cool.
liked it so much.
Yeah.
So yeah, it'd be cool to have that.
Totally.
Yeah.
We should totally do that.
Definitely.
I think in the episode 6, there's going to be. I'm sure you know the scene better than I do because I've just heard it in passing. But there's a scene where Zoe's walking around with headphones on and she's listening to something, and Matt thought it would be funny to have like a punk rock version of, "Hey chala, hey chala," like
That'd be cool.
maybe just like
Oh,
even
yeah.
a guy singing it, just
Yeah.
like
yeah.
same song but completely different vibe.
Yeah.
So we're thinking about messing with something like that.
That'd be cool.
That would be cool.
Spoiler alert.
Spoilers. Yeah.
Woo! Anyway, cool. Yeah, we should throw that song up
We
at
should-
the end of this episode.
Yeah, we should throw it up. So awesome. Well, thanks for being here, man. We'll
Yeah.
definitely have you back.
Great.
And especially whenever your all's podcast comes up. Maybe even before then. But
Well,
we'll see.
that'd be great.
So
Yeah, it's really hot in here.
it is really hot in here. All right, how are we going to sign off, Joe? Just pick something. Regular or different?
Let's do it this way.
Okay.
All hail Planet Villain.
Are we supposed to repeat that?
I guess.
Yeah.
Hail. Is that?
We were doing this one sign off where it'd be like a circle where like
Yeah.
I'd say, you done good, Will, and he'd
I'd
say, you done good, Craig, and you'd say, you done good, Joe. But
Yeah.
then like, what if people forgot? Like, we're
Right.
not always interviewing people we know very well,
right.
And if sometimes like people kind of like stumble on the names, I'm like, we should just stop
we should
doing
just
that.
not do that.
So, everyone, hail me!
Hail you?
Hell no.
Hail no. All right. Thanks for listening, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.
Welcome. Yokoso. Hello. Konnichiwa. How are you? O ginki desu ka? Long time no see. Hisashi buri. What's your name? O name wa nan desu ka? My name is... Well, that's a boring one. Skip that. Good luck is Gambate. All right, that's it for now. Let me know if you need any other options.
Thank you for listening, DNN.